Who do you guys think will win the Champions League this
season? It's so difficult to look beyond, mate. I feel like I'm a bore here, and probably throughout, but especially here. It's Man City, isn't it? Like, we can talk about Real Madrid, and of course there's a chance. Then there's a puncher's chance for basically anyone else. I don't know. You want to talk about?
Could it be Harry Kane's? Yeah.
No. Munich ain't got.
I've given up on that. Have you? You might have detected a complete sea change with how I've been about Harry Kane. Off the back of those Euros, I fought so hard for him against you, all our friendship, the whole time I've known you, really. Like, I've really had to make a case for Kane. I love him. I've rated him so highly. I've said it's going to come good. And the Euros that we've just seen him at, I now feel like I have to fall on my sword and admit that your reservations, talking to Adam and Buvey here especially, your reservations were correct.
I just don't see it. I think he's just at the point of his career where he's lost a yard of pace. He's lost even an extra yard. He was never a quick player anyway, but he's lost an extra yard of pace. He's doing well in Bundesliga. He's scored a few goals. I think he's top scorer in the Bundesliga at the moment. Bayern Munich are top of the league. But we're talking about Champions League football. Bayern Munich are not on the same level as Real Madrid and Man City. And I think Man City are, if City can get to a level come March and April, a cut above Real Madrid. I know it's naive me saying that amount of times Real Madrid have won. Who am I to compete against Real Madrid as a City fan? But as a sporting project, I think we are a cut above Real Madrid. Like, they were parking the bus against us at the Etihad, and they beat us. They
got Mbappe though this year.
Yeah, and he scored 4 in 6. I think it is. He's doing okay.
Penalties.
A few penalties, yeah.
Penalties. I mean, Real Madrid in general, it's Vinicius a penalty. He'll hand it over to Mbappe, then he'll hand it over to Vinicius. I mean, to me, it's been a bit underwhelming. I'm not really afraid.
But aren't we just waiting for them to kind of click?
To click. I understand that as well, but I feel like in the Champions League as well, we've been taught this lesson over and over again.
Just to add to it, the Champions League final this year is a great memory for Chelsea, but also significant to Kane. It's at the Allianz. Does that change anything?
I always feel like that puts too much pressure on the team. I remember when Fergie wanted to have the final at Hampden.
Leverkusen.
And we messed it against Leverkusen. Then there was the one at Old Trafford. And we
the all-Italian one. The worst final of all time. The worst final of all time, yeah.
There was the worst final of all time. Because it's always spoken about. It's always constantly spoken about.
That final, it was the worst final in terms of football quality, but the best TIFO I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The whole Stretford end became a graveyard. You know, Juventus have lost a lot of finals. They've got to a lot of Champions League finals and lost them. The whole Stretford end became like tombstones with each of the... Yeah. It's a fantastic team.
But by the way, the funniest penalty shootout ever. If you go back and watch those penalties, I know you've got that rule now where keepers can't come off their line. A few of those penalties, Dida was basically...
Is that what... 3 yards away.
6 yard box.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Same with Dudek, if you look at the whole 5.
Yeah.
Like, he was all the way.
Particularly for the deciding... Was it Shevchenko in the deciding one? Yeah.
Crazy.
Basically catches it like...
But you know what? Like, trying to have a genuine conversation around this Champions League. Pep Guardiola used to manage Bayern Munich. Do you not feel like they'll learn from what happened against Real Madrid, where they were very unlucky? Man City, they won it the previous year. They got that monkey off their back.
Have they lost a little bit of depth though? Maybe.
I don't think. If they have, I don't think it matters.
Their squad's not as strong as it was last year.
So if Man City don't win it, somebody is going to have to knock them out with it. Play this game with me, right? They get through the group, their massive group. They obviously go through no problem. They then get somebody fairly easy, we assume, and then it starts, right? Who do they pull out the hat that actually knock them out?
But the favourites very rarely win it. We always put this pressure on City. I know City have had the pressure a lot, and obviously they've won it, so they'll have that experience of winning it, and that can help you a lot. But we always say and Real Madrid always come along and just shock you.
No, but the favourites...
Somehow Real Madrid will do it.
The favourites probably don't win it because, although they're favourites versus one team, they're not favourites overall because there's every other team versus one.
And there's always a team that comes through.
Who? Okay, play
there's always there's always a team.
Yeah.
Could Aston Villa be it?
No, you're talking in...
Could Aston Villa be it?
I like what you're doing.
Could Aston Villa be it?
No, Aston Villa
Unai Emery?
No, Unai Emery won't...
Smashing young boys?
No. Yeah, he might do that.
I think Liverpool's
Man City.
You got to look at Liverpool, surely. The romance of the amount of times they've won it, the most successful English side ever in the competition. Arne Slot's got a bit of a European experience with Feyenoord. Anfield under the lights. There have been worse Liverpool sides, let's put it this way. Worse Liverpool sides that have won the Champions League.
They'd have to stay fit, is my concern. They just don't have the squad depth in a Champions League and a Premier League season to compete.
Heads on the chopping block. You have to get this right or you're guillotined. Who wins the Champions League?
Real Madrid.
Man City.
John.
Real Madrid.
Man City.
Adam.
Real Madrid.
Annoyingly, it's Man City. I've just got a question for everybody.
We're all wrong.
That we should
You're
discuss.
all wrong.
Is there a world in which we should mention it? Do Arsenal have a chance of winning this?
I think they've improved their
Do you
chances.
think it's that bad?
Could I say something?
it's
I
mentality.
was gonna say. I think it's crazy. First, they have to get past the round of 16. That's the most important part because that's where they've struggled a lot. They come across big teams in the Champions League and they struggle a lot. However, when you asked about who can beat Man City, if I feel like if Arsenal were to come across Man City early in the Champions League over 2 legs, I feel like Arsenal.
Would it be a
would-
priority
I would
from you, Buvey,
love
to avoid Arsenal?
I'd love Arsenal early. I'd love to get them early.
What, would you play?
I think prime City. You obviously got to assume that if you're getting to the Champions League later rounds, you're in your prime.
so
Rodri's
last
fit,
day,
Haaland's fit.
you get Arsenal. How you feeling?
Smash them off the park.
What, win
With all
home
due
and away
respect-
kind of thing?
With all due respect, I know they beat us at the Emirates. People can bring that up. In the last 5 years, the record's unbelievable towards City. It's a different kettle of fish.
Do you not think Arsenal's recruitment, the fact that they've become almost this gladiatorial side, this big unit, this tall set piece, that is tournament football, is it not? Do you not think they could go away now with Calafiori, Marino
Yeah, of
come
course.
in?
Yeah.
This team, Gabriel scores a goal every 3 games. Like they've got that resilience where they could go and like.
I don't think Marino is a cert though.
No, but in terms of just
I don't think he's a
improving the
dead
squad, I
cert
think
too.
Arsenal could go away in an away leg fixture and sit in and get a 0-0.
You know,
I just
Come
see
on,
their
it's
about bringing
mentality.
it back.
Every game,
They are a solid
there's
side.
stress. Every game they need 3 points. They're worried about every game. Brighton was a worry. Spurs was a worry. It was.
There is a truth to this.
City had this kind of even if we can debate if it's justified or not, there's a regal approach to every football game. City go and dominate and bully sides. At the moment, we can do that. Can't always do that. You don't always have the quality to do it. City have got 8 world-class players. Real Madrid have probably got 8 or 9 world-class players. Maybe the best player in the world, Mbappe. Arsenal have probably got 1 world-class player. Like that's the truth. Like it's just down to quality on
The
the
more I
pitch.
think about it, lads, Bayern Munich, Musiala's a year
Oh,
on.
trust me.
Mate,
Harry Kane
Vincent Kompany
Harry
is
Kane
not
is
winning.
Burnley
Vincent
manager.
Kompany.
Burnley.
Wait, Rory just killed me. I forgot Vincent Kompany was the manager. I forgot Vincent Kompany was the manager.
And
Yeah,
even
Vincent
I think
Kompany
a lot of their
lifted that
signings are
Euro.
good, but they're not like
He's not
they're not
lifting
Champions
Euro.
League.
Okay, Booth, who do you want to avoid? Name. So we're all basically
I'd rather
saying
play
Man-
Arsenal than Liverpool.
So the team
I'd
to avoid
avoid
for you is Liverpool.
I'd avoid Liverpool and obviously Real Madrid.
Okay, so it is an interesting one. What do you think of the new format? Are you a supporter of the new format?
I'm not sure yet.
We've got to wait and see, innit?
Yeah, upon recording, we've not actually seen it all play out and the repercussions of it. It just feels like more football. So yeah,
We spoke about it earlier. We touched on like more games in football. They've just rejigged it and brought more games in. So it's like you're going to be complaining. Obviously, the clubs that benefit from that, having the extra home games and the extra revenue, that'll be big for them. But you are adding more games to the calendar. And it remains to be seen. Obviously, we have to wait to see how it plays out. But it could be a case that the last 2 game weeks are just loads of dead rubbers. No one giving a shit about the last 2 games.
No,
You know, something like
I
that.
think. Do you know what though, Ad? I think the point of this is that we don't have dead rubbers because in a 14 group, that's what we end up with. Whereas this, you should always have a chance to go through. That's the point, at least in theory. I don't like it. I think it's far too complex, far too big, and I think they did something similar to this in rugby, and it was a disaster.
So the top 8 go through to the last 16.
Automatically, yeah.
And the 9th to 24th to play an extra round.
I think they play each other, right? As far as I know.
No, the top 8 go through, and then the 9th to 24th.
It's like a
Play another
Be like
round, and then,
playoffs,
and then
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like playoffs, yeah.
And it's the same for the Conference League and the Europa League.
Yeah, that's the one good thing about this. At least people don't drop into another
more Europa
competition.
League.
Oh, there's no
Yeah.
dropping in.
No, they don't
Oh,
drop in.
go for that.
I don't think.
2 more Europa League games. Jesus Christ.